Okay, welcome to the week 9. Anyone managed to do the homework? Raise your hand. Anyone managed to do it? Anyone actually attempt to try? No, yes? Not really? Is it too hard? Type in the chat, I want to see. All right. Forgot to copy the homework. Anyone understand how to use a file? How to read, write a file? All right, I think we should move on to the next one. Create a new repo. Python 9. Okay, so that should be, today we learned something. Some concept which is very new. Anyone know about object oriented? You know anything called, anyone understand or know anything about object oriented programming? Okay, you don't know. Okay, so object oriented. Object oriented programming is basically that's what you learn. Essentially, all if you actually go to work writing software, probably the most important thing you learn is object-oriented programming. Okay, object programming is the organized data in terms of object rather than function and logic. So you learn about function, you learn about everything, but the next concept you need to learn is about an object. The concept is very simple, right? I share you this screen. Essentially, it's very simple, but you see it every day. It just, you never heard of it. Okay, so you need to learn object-oriented means take a car, right? We call so I'm going to show. Okay, I'm share screen again. Everyone see me okay? Drop that. Okay. whatever sorry, I got a very bad internet connection today. Let's go back. So a car is a class. An object is an instance of a car. Okay, you got a Polo, Mini, Beetle, Toyota, whatever it is an instance of a car. So a car is a class. Object is this. Object-oriented programming is you represent things as objects. So a Polo is an object. A Mini is an object. A Beetle car is an object. A Toyota Yaris is an object. That's what we call object-oriented programming. So we focus on the actual objects. Let's say, for another example, let's say, whatever in, let's say what in your house, let's say is a TV, right? TV is a class. And then your Sony TV, your Korean TV, your Panasonic TV is an object. So a TV, we define TV like a TV should have a screen. It can present, they have internet for Netflix, they have this and that, have remote control, have sounds. So that is a class. And then when you have a Sony TV, is an object. So is an instance of a TV. That's what that is the basic concept of object-oriented. And then in the class of car, we have what's the model, how many seats they can do, 5-seater, 3-seater, 7-seater. What the max speed they can have, how many doors, maybe the 3 doors, 2 doors, they can have 5 doors, they can have 4 doors. So all kind of that. Okay. So that's how a class and an object oriented. Now, dev object is an instance of the class. It's the right, well, I understand what you're saying, but the right technical word we use is called instance. Okay. I want to share back into object oriented. I want you to read a little bit. So a class, object is an instance of a class. Okay. That's how the right word is instance. A class is, we just define what in act as a blueprint of the objects. Okay. A method is what function in there. An attribute, we have 4 main things that you need to, 4 main things in object-oriented programming that you need to understand. It's a class, an object, a method, an attribute. Attribute is what belongs to the car, to the class. For example, for the car, right? Attribute will be what is the color, how many speed, how many doors, how many seats, what shape it is that a sedan, is that SUV, yeah, what's the brand? That's called attribute, right? Method, what method is, what behavior, right? Method define behavior. Attribute defining what is represent, right? Attribute. Method define behavior. Let's say you accelerate, you stop, you turn left, you turn right. They call method. That's a behavior. Does that make sense? So method is more like what action you can do on it. They call method. So you have 4 basic things you need to understand. You must understand 4 keywords: class, objects, methods, and attribute. Those 4 things you need to understand. It's very simple, right? There's a lot more on object like inheritance, polymorphism, all kind of stuff. I don't want to go into details, abstraction. I don't want you to go into the encapsulation, all kind of things. I don't want you to really go into deep details of this, because that take you object oriented probably take you 6 months just on this topic, right? But I want you to touch base so that you can understand. All right, if you want to move into advanced level programming, you need to learn about object oriented programming, because that's what all the people use. I mean, that's what you learn about function and stuff like that, which is cool, but then you need to move to next level so that you can work in a company, right? So you need to learn object-oriented programming. Okay, that is object-oriented programming. Now, go back. Okay. Do you understand? Let's do an object-oriented programming. Let's do, okay, so how do we do object-oriented programming in Python? How do you represent a class? Okay, for example, we do like this. This is in Python, right? We have a class, which is car. It's an object. Then in Python, you must understand then you have your set. Okay. And then okay, for example, this is how you present a class in Python, right? Starting with the keyword called class, and then this is the class name is a car. I already show you the photo. So the car, there will be a model type, which is whatever Toyota Yaris, whatever passengers, how many passengers they can fit. Maybe this is called door. Doors. How many passengers? No. What's the colors? How many door? What is speed? turn left. Okay. Then you have a function called def move. If let's not just keep typing on this. I need to explain to you. So I just create the whole class of a car. It's a lot of typing, a lot of concept that you need to learn. So don't spend time copying it, guys. Okay. All right. So the class of car. This is attribute, guys. All of this is called attribute. Okay. Let's go back to the object-oriented. So back to the object-oriented programming. So we have attributes. Okay. We have class, which is this. Car. And then you have objects. I will show you object later. We have methods. Method will be turn left, turn right, go straight. And then drive. And then and you got attribute. Attribute will be this. Okay. Attribute with models, passengers, colors, door, speed, something like that. Okay. That's what you know. And then for Python, they're always starting with the function called init. So when is you instantiate an object, which is, let's say you have a Volkswagen Beetle, and the first thing you call is the init, right? Init will assign all the attribute to that car. Let's say model is Beetle. Passengers will be 5. Color will be blue. Door will be 5. It's 0. Okay, so Beetle is an object, right? It's an object of a car. Car is a class. All of these is attribute, and all of these is method. You look back to them, you have class, object, method, attribute. And then Beetle is an instance of car, is an object, but it is an instance of a car. And that's how a Beetle set is a blue, color blue, 5-seater, can take 5 passengers. And the speed at the moment will be 0, so they're not driving, okay? And then we have def go left. At the moment, we just do pass. We don't do anything. All right. Okay, so the method at the moment we are developing, we haven't done anything yet. Okay, we haven't done anything. So this is an empty method. We haven't done anything. We just build up a skeleton of the objects of the class. So the car can be color, door, speed, turn left, turn right, and then the method will be go left or right. Okay, so in here, anything we can do like this: print and left. So now we start filling it up. Print. Print. So now look at the beetle, right? Left. Something like this, okay? Let's say we just run. So mistake. True. Boolean. Okay. Just do this. I try to make it simple. Okay. Okay. So okay, just print. I am with the contact so model the Okay. Okay, so let's say we create a class of car. Okay, that's good. I think we got a good and easy understand. Okay, so a beetle, we got a beetle is an object of a car, which is an instance of a car with the beetle can take 5 passengers, color blue. Got 5 passengers and at the speed of 0. Okay, now you see how I do? I just call describe. Describe here is the method. If you go back to here, that's the method that defines the behavior of that. I can describe a car. I can go left. I can go right. Okay. Now we can do Yaris. Toyota Yaris. Yaris is a small car. It take only 4 passengers. And in fact, they can have only 2 doors. Color, let's say give it for red. Only 2 doors. Starting with bit 0. Describe. Go right. Okay. So we have 2, right? We have 2. We have a beetle is a instead of a car. And we have Toyota Yaris and so instead of a car. I am a, maybe we do a better colors. Okay. See this? Now let's run the program. I am a blue beetle with 5 doors and can take 5 passengers. I do some spelling mistakes. Run again. I'm a blue beetle with 5 doors, can take 5 passengers. I can describe myself like this. I'm turning left and I'm going straight. I'm a red Toyota Yaris with 2 doors and can take 4 passengers. You see this? These 2 are the instance, which is the objects, and car is a class. We got method to do this. I can describe myself now. If Yaris, they just, all Yaris, you see, they don't have to type anything. All the function, they just type that describe, right? When what describe do is they get all the attribute and print them out in a meaningful manner, okay? And then you can go left, you can go right. So that's what it means. I copied the whole thing in the chat now. So that you can understand. It's a lot of typing. You don't have to type it. It's more you pay attention to the actual concept itself. You can just copy my work. You save your time, spend more time to understand the concept. It's very important. Okay, I leave you for a few minutes to get it up and running on your Repo IT. Okay. This is very important lessons because essentially that's what people going to program. If you are at work, people hire you, most likely you have to do all of this. I give you a few minutes and then I'll get back to you. Thank you. Okay, everyone doing all right? Thumbs up, you understand? So at the moment we have 3 cars, a Beetle, a Yaris, and a Cooper Mini. So we have a class and then we have instance, which is objects. All of these are objects of that. Okay. If you look at the concept, you go back to maybe I try to put in here so that let's see if I can. Okay, so here is a car, and then you have objects, all of the Beetle, the Mini, the Polo. There, essentially, that's what represent in Python. This is what it is. You call this, so this no longer called function. Remember, I teach you think of function, but if it's within a class, you no longer call them function. We call them methods. Okay, a part of object is called methods. A function is like this, right? Same concept. Green cars. So print cars is function. You see that they're all starting with def, but then because the def here is within the class, so now we call this is a method. Okay, it's not a function, it's a method. You have to understand them. It's a different thing. Why? Because a function I can call print car, right? No problem. But if I do describe, you can see here, okay? If I do print cars, the function still runs fine. See, no issue, all good. But now if I do describe, I have problems. Here, you can see this. Because describe is not defined. Why? Because that all describes here, but the describe is only within the car objects, right? So only within the car class. So only car objects can call describe. All the object people cannot call describe because it belongs to this class. So print car is a function because it's global like this. It doesn't belong to any class. Whereas describe belongs to class of car. Only Beetle, Yaris, Mini can call them. Nobody else can call them globally. That's why it's an error. Make sense? Does it make sense to you, everyone? Okay, how about we expand this one? Accelerate. Okay. Accelerate. All right. Okay. And then let's focus just on the beetle. So all we care here, let's focus just for beetle, okay? Maybe we don't call this anymore. Okay, so we do this. Okay, you can look at this. I'm starting when the beetle is not running. Is a beetle with PyDor, take passenger running at 0 speed. And then now I'm call accelerate method twice. And then I do it again. Still a blue beetle, but running at full speed. Okay, because every time you call a method accelerate, we increase the speed by 2. So starting it's 0, we call it 2 times, so it's 4. So essentially you can describe the whole car. You can describe the whole car's behavior, everything, attribute using a class like this. So you learn about whole cars. So at the moment, if you look, essentially you don't, for a user, right? All they need to do is just instantiate the car, the beetle, and then they just drive the car like this. That's how normally you work, right? You don't need to understand what's going behind. You don't need to go, you don't need to know how you turn left, how you turn right. You just assume. You just turn left here, you can go straight, you can accelerate here. Okay. Now, all the logics of how you turn left, you know, what do you do in here? Let's say you can do like cell left motor run for example, right? And then right motor will be running. You can do like this. So internally, might be like this, right? You turn left by you turning left motor, you turn right, and then yeah, and then you can do left, right. You can do degree. Left motor is running. Cell. Turn left. Go to degree, and then you can do like this. And then you can do actual something like this, right? But essentially, you don't need to know all the user in here. All they need to know is I can turn left with 90 degree. Something like that. Something like this, okay? Right. Now, something like this. You can do that. You don't have to do here anymore. Okay, so I make things a little bit more complicated. So you can drive the whole video like this, running with 0 speed. I'm sitting idle at the moment when you started. And I'm going straight and then turning left. Something like that. You can expand the car class to whatever you want. And then you can describe your car here. Okay. So you can make a lot of fun things about the class. I think. I hope your head is not spinning. Hope you understand the whole thing. Thumbs up if you do understand it. You understand this? So Leon, Dave, Kyra, seems to understand. All good. Jerry. Okay, it seems everyone seems to understand the concept. This is the car concept. So this is called object oriented. Yeah, I think it's a very important concept. You can do now. Remember the last week? The last week homework. Yeah, I should copy your homework, guys. Remember last week we have student name, date of birth, what is the class? You print to a file. You can represent the same thing. A class, you define a classroom class, and in classroom class we have a list of students. The student, we have a class of student. Student, you have name, date of birth. So if you look at So this is the car example, right? We should have a look at I'm trying to think about the homework. Should we use the car or you want to use student again in your classroom? Which one you think? Car or student? Okay, you prefer cars. Good. Let's do a car collection. We build up based on this. We do 40 lines of code during this class. Maybe we do a collection of cars. Yeah, so the homework will be like this. Create of cars. Say Toyota, Honda, Holden, okay. Super cool homework. And then store it in a file. Now maybe we do a race game. Create a race game. With max speed. Race game. And then use random to accelerate cars. Go through it and tell us which car is fastest. Race. Do you understand? I say the homework. Anyone just copy it down first. Make sure you don't lose it. Actually, this is the homework. Okay. So the homework is very simple. You create a collection of cars. Remember, every time you accelerate, you increase the speed by 2. So you randomly go through all the car and you call accelerate. Make sense? Let's say you go through Beetle, Yaris, Cooper. You use a random function, which is randint. Use this random function, and then you accelerate the car. Let's say you do it 10 times, 20 times. And then you go through all the car. You select the car that is the fastest and pick that car. Say the Beetle win the race or the Cooper win the race, whatever it is, based on the speed of the car. Because every time you call accelerate, the speed is increment by 2. Understand the games? Do a race car, who is the fastest cars, and then you need to print out. Do you understand the game? Thumbs up. So you select the fastest car based on the speed. You go through all the car and work out the speed because you use a random function. I already taught you how to use a random function in the previous lessons. And then you work out the speed, pick the car, got the highest speed. The speed, because it's randomized, right? Because you go through the car list. Let's say the car list might be a collection of cars, maybe 10 cars. You can create. And then you have to randomize them with the speed. They give them the speed, and then they'll say, all right, you go through them, you go through the list of the car again. The one got the highest speed will win the race. Make sense? I think that's it, everyone. Kyra, if you don't know how to use random function, your best friend is Google. All you need to do is just like this. Python random and in example. Okay. There you go. We have this. Click this. Learn it yourself. Everyone doing coding, most likely 90% of your time is learn themselves because the knowledge of programming is unlimited. So nobody knows everything. For me, it's the same every day. I have to Google, have to learn myself. Okay? Don't know, ask your Google. That's your best friend. That's it, everyone. Thank you, and I see you next week. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.